There's one thing in life that we all wrestle with, a simple two-letter word that has the power to shape the entire course of our lives. We avoid it, we hesitate, we say yes when we know we shouldn't. But here's the truth. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to something that truly matters. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Our time is stretched thin by obligations, social pressures, and the fear of missing out. But the Stoics knew better. They taught us that to live with purpose, we must master the art of saying no. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who ruled the largest empire in history, said it best. You see how few things you have to do to live a satisfying and reverent life. He knew that by cutting out the unnecessary, we can focus on what really matters. And that's exactly what we'll explore today. How to say no to the things that steal your time and energy, and yes to the life you're meant to lead. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll walk away with not just strategies, but a Stoic mindset that will help you regain control of your life. This isn't about shutting out opportunities, it's about making space for what's truly essential. Before we dive deep into how to reclaim your time and focus, if you appreciate what we're doing here, the simple free favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button and don't skip any part of this video, because every section is going to help you build the Stoic mindset needed to say no to the things that don't matter and yes to the life you deserve. Let's dive in. Build self-awareness. To begin mastering the art of saying no to unimportant things in life, the first step is building self-awareness. Without this, it's almost impossible to know when to decline or when to say yes with confidence. The Stoics were firm believers that self-awareness forms the foundation for living a purposeful life. If you don't know where you're headed, how will you decide what distractions to avoid? Seneca once wrote, "The soul which has no fixed purpose in life is lost. To be everywhere is to be nowhere." Think about that for a second. To be everywhere is to be nowhere. How often do we feel like we're pulled in every direction, responding to every demand, only to find ourselves drained and unfulfilled at the end of the day? Without a clear purpose, every new request or opportunity feels equally important. But in reality, not everything deserves your attention. Knowing your purpose means taking a moment to pause and reflect on what truly matters to you. What are your core values? What are the things that bring meaning to your life? For some, it might be cultivating relationships with family or friends. For others, it could be achieving career milestones, personal growth, or simply living in alignment with one's principles. Whatever your purpose is, it's uniquely yours, and this clarity will become your compass, guiding your decisions on where to invest your time and energy. The Stoic practice of journaling is a powerful way to build this self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius would write down his thoughts every day, reflecting on his actions, his intentions, and how he could improve. Journaling forces you to slow down and truly examine your day-to-day decisions. It helps you see patterns in where you're spending time and energy. Are these things aligned with your purpose, or are they distractions pulling you off course? Another essential aspect of self-awareness is recognizing the why behind your actions. Why do you say yes to things that don't serve you? Often it's because of societal pressures, the fear of disappointing others, or the fear of missing out. We've been conditioned to think that being busy equals being productive, but that's a trap. The Stoics teach us to strip away these external pressures and focus on what we can control: our decisions, our actions, and our mindset. In this case, saying no to things that don't align with your purpose is an act of reclaiming control over your life. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. That's powerful, because it speaks to the importance of focus. When you're clear on what matters, it becomes easier to give your full attention to what's in front of you and say no to everything else. Distractions lose their grip on you when you know your path. Here's where self-awareness becomes practical. The next time someone asks for your time or energy, before immediately saying yes out of habit, pause. Ask yourself, does this align with my purpose? If the answer is no, you're allowed to decline. In fact, by saying no to things that don't matter, you're creating space for the things that do. This doesn't make you selfish. It makes you wise. The Stoics were very clear that wisdom isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about living in accordance with your highest values. Seneca also spoke about emia, a concept that refers to being on your own path without being distracted by the opinions or paths of others. It's about knowing where you're headed and staying true to that course. When you're self-aware, when you have this sense of purpose, the noise of the world fades into the background. You stop worrying about what others expect from you and start focusing on what you expect from yourself. Building self-awareness is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice. Each morning or evening, take a few minutes to reflect. What is my purpose? What did I say yes to today, and did it align with that purpose? What did I say no to, and how did it feel? Over time, this practice sharpens your ability to make decisions that serve your larger goals and protects your time and energy from being drained by things that don't matter. Cultivate self-discipline. Focus on what you control. At the core of Stoicism is the idea that you should focus only on what you can control. Epictetus said, "Some things are in our control and others are not." This is a profound reminder that we often waste energy trying to manage things outside our power, like other people's reactions or external events, while neglecting what we can control, which is our own behavior, choices, and responses. When it comes to saying no, this principle becomes even more important. Why do we often struggle with saying no? Because we fear the consequences. We worry about disappointing others, missing opportunities, or being judged. But the Stoics teach us to release the anxiety around these external reactions because they are not within our control. What is within our control is how we respond and how we exercise our self-discipline to make decisions that are aligned with our purpose and values. Self-discipline isn't just about willpower. It's about being deliberate with your time and choices. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do every act of your life as though it were the last." This doesn't mean we should live in a constant state of urgency, but rather that we should treat each decision as significant. By bringing this kind of mindfulness into our everyday choices, we naturally start to develop discipline. When you commit to something, you should give it your full attention. If you've said yes to something important, that task deserves your focus and energy. But often, we scatter ourselves too thin because we say yes to too many things out of habit, fear of missing out, or a misplaced sense of obligation. This is where self-discipline kicks in. It's the discipline to say no to distractions, even when they seem appealing in the moment. Let's break it down. Imagine you're working on something that's important to you, and suddenly a friend invites you to an event. You might feel the immediate pull to say yes because it sounds fun, or because you don't want to let them down. But if this event doesn't align with your priorities or values at the time, saying no becomes an act of self-discipline. You're not just saying no to your friend, you're saying yes to your deeper purpose. Whether it's working on a project, spending time with family, or even just taking time for yourself to rest. Self-discipline is also about maintaining balance. It's easy to think that saying no is all about sacrifice, but in reality, saying no is a way of protecting what is most valuable to you, your time, energy, and focus. As the Stoics would put it, you're creating space for the things that truly align with your purpose. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. If you don't have the discipline to say no to what doesn't matter, you'll end up wasting the most precious resource you have, your time." One of the biggest challenges to self-discipline is impulse control. How many times have you found yourself agreeing to something in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? Stoicism teaches us to create a buffer between stimulus and response. Before you say yes or no, take a moment to reflect. Is this aligned with my purpose? Is this something I want to invest my time and energy in? The Stoics also emphasized training the mind. Epictetus often used the metaphor of an athlete training their body to explain the importance of mental discipline. Just as an athlete needs to train consistently to build strength, we need to practice saying no consistently to build mental discipline. At first, it might feel uncomfortable or unnatural, but the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, you develop the mental muscle to prioritize what's truly important without hesitation. Another key element of Stoic self-discipline is fortitude, the ability to endure discomfort. Let's face it, saying no isn't always easy. Sometimes it means disappointing people. Sometimes it means turning down opportunities that look appealing but don't serve your long-term goals. But fortitude, or what the Stoics called strength of mind, Basrenia allows you to weather these discomforts for the sake of a higher purpose. As Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly. The path to self-mastery takes time and perseverance." Finally, remember that self-discipline is a form of self-respect. When you say no to things that don't serve you, you're respecting your time, your energy, and your purpose. You're affirming that your goals and values are worth protecting. This is why self-discipline is so powerful. It's not about restricting your life. It's about freeing yourself from unnecessary burdens so you can focus on what truly matters. Understand that your time is valuable. Marcus Aurelius had an incredible amount of responsibility and power. He governed an empire, led armies, and yet, despite all this, he constantly reminded himself and others of the importance of how we use our time. He famously wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This is a powerful reminder that life is short and our time on this earth is limited. The Stoics used this reality, what they called memento mori, remember you must die, to fuel their focus on what truly matters. So why is this so hard for us to grasp? Well, it's easy to get caught up in the idea that we have endless tomorrows. We tell ourselves, "I'll get to that important project later," or "I'll spend time on what I care about when things slow down." But the truth is, life moves fast, and if we don't protect our time, it gets consumed by distractions and obligations that don't really matter. In modern life, we face an overwhelming amount of distractions, from social media to constant notifications, from work demands to endless social obligations. But as Marcus Aurelius also wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." We waste time not because we don't have enough of it, but because we often fail to use it wisely. The Stoics believed that the path to a meaningful life is found in focusing your time and energy on what truly matters to you. Understanding the value of your time starts with prioritization. Ask yourself, what are the things that actually contribute to my purpose, my growth, my happiness? When you start viewing time as a limited resource, you begin to realize that saying yes to one thing often means saying no to something else. This is why learning to say no is so important. It's a way of guarding your time for the things that truly matter. Seneca had a lot to say about time management in his essay on the shortness of life. He argued that life is long enough if we know how to use it. He wrote, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." Seneca is essentially reminding us that we often guard our money and possessions carefully, yet we give away our time without a second thought. This is a mistake. Our time is far more valuable than any material possession, and we should treat it as such. How can we apply this in daily life? It begins with the small decisions. Every time you're faced with a request or an opportunity, ask yourself, is this worth my time? Does this contribute to my purpose, or is it just another distraction? This might mean saying no to things that seem harmless, like scrolling through social media, binge-watching TV, or attending yet another meeting that doesn't really need your input. But it's these small decisions that add up. Every hour you spend on something that doesn't align with your goals is an hour you'll never get back. Marcus Aurelius often advised himself to live in the present, to focus on what is in front of him, and to let go of unnecessary distractions. In fact, he wrote, "Concentrate every minute like a Roman on doing what is in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness." This means giving your full attention to the task at hand rather than letting your mind drift to unimportant things. The more you focus on the present, the less likely you are to waste time on distractions. But let's be honest, saying no to things isn't easy. Often we feel obligated to say yes because we don't want to disappoint others or miss out on opportunities. But here's the thing. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're saying no to something that is important. This could be your family, your personal growth, your health, or even your peace of mind. The Stoics teach us that we can't be everything to everyone. We have to prioritize and protect our time if we want to live a meaningful life. And this brings us back to the idea of self-discipline. It takes discipline to say no to distractions, to guard your time carefully, and to focus on what truly matters. But once you start practicing it, you'll find that your life becomes more focused, more productive, and ultimately more fulfilling. Ask the magic question, is this necessary? Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary?" This isn't just a rhetorical exercise, it's a practice meant to guide you in making deliberate, thoughtful decisions. The question helps you filter out the unimportant distractions that can easily consume your life and derail your progress toward meaningful goals. Why is this question so powerful? Because most of us live on autopilot. We say yes to things without thinking, filling our days with tasks, meetings, social commitments, and distractions that may not serve our highest purpose. We scroll through social media, attend events out of obligation, or take on work that doesn't align with our personal values, all without stopping to ask if it's really necessary. The result? We feel overwhelmed, stretched thin, and unsatisfied despite being constantly busy. This is where the magic question comes in. By pausing to ask, is this necessary? Before committing to anything, whether it's a new task, a favor, a meeting, or even checking your phone, you force yourself to reflect on whether this action adds value to your life. Does it contribute to your goals, your happiness, your peace of mind? If not, it's a distraction, plain and simple. The Stoic philosophy is all about focusing on what's essential. The Stoics understood that life is filled with temptations to stray from the path of virtue and purpose. They called these distractions indifference, things that are neither inherently good nor bad, but can lead you astray if you give them too much importance. Social obligations, trivial tasks, or even chasing wealth and status can all be distractions if they don't align with your personal goals and values. By asking, is this necessary? You are practicing prohairesis, the Stoic concept of deliberate choice, and asserting control over how you spend your time and energy. Let's look at some real-life examples. Imagine you're invited to a networking event. On the surface, it sounds like a great opportunity, but you've been working hard all week, and you had planned to spend that evening resting or with family. Before automatically saying yes, ask yourself, is this necessary? Will this event genuinely contribute to your personal or professional growth? Or is it just another obligation that will leave you feeling drained? The answer to that question should guide your response. If it doesn't align with your goals or add real value to your life, it's okay to say no. Or maybe you're at your desk working on an important project and your phone buzzes with a new notification. You're tempted to check it, even though you know it will derail your focus. Again, pause and ask, is this necessary? Is checking this notification going to help you finish your work or contribute to your overall well-being? If the answer is no, resist the temptation. By asking this question in moments of distraction, you're training your mind to stay focused on what truly matters. The power of this question extends beyond just productivity. It's about cultivating mindfulness and intention in everything you do. When you start asking, is this necessary? In your daily life, you begin to live with more purpose and clarity. You'll notice that you're no longer doing things just because everyone else is, or because you feel obligated to say yes. Instead, you're making conscious decisions that align with your values and priorities. Marcus Aurelius also emphasized the importance of living in accordance with nature, which for the Stoics means living in harmony with your true self, your virtues, your reason, and your purpose. When you ask, is this necessary? You're practicing this principle. You're stripping away the unnecessary, the trivial, and the distracting, so you can focus on living a life of purpose, wisdom, and virtue. But let's be real, it's not always easy. Saying no can be uncomfortable. We often fear disappointing others, missing out, or being judged. But as the Stoics remind us, we cannot control how others react to our decisions. We can only control our own actions and responses. By asking, is this necessary? You're not only guarding your time and energy, but you're also practicing apatheia, a Stoic concept that involves maintaining a sense of emotional equanimity regardless of external pressures. Figure out what's important to you. Stay true to your values. Knowing what's important to you is the foundation for every decision you make. If you don't have a clear sense of what you value, it becomes incredibly easy to get pulled into activities, commitments, and even relationships that don't serve your higher purpose. Seneca emphasized the importance of clarity in life, saying, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." In other words, if you don't know where you're going, you'll never know which opportunities are worth taking and which ones are distractions. But how do we figure out what's important? The Stoics teach us to start by looking inward. Marcus Aurelius often urged himself to reflect on his actions, writing in his meditations, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig." This act of reflection is where the magic happens. You have to take the time to pause, reflect, and truly understand what you care about, what brings you fulfillment, and what aligns with your sense of purpose. One simple way to start is by identifying your core values. These could be things like family, personal growth, integrity, creativity, or helping others. Once you have a list of your top values, use them as a filter for every decision you make. Does this activity, opportunity, or commitment align with these values? If not, then it's probably not worth your time. The Stoics believed that living in accordance with your values was key to living a fulfilling life. Epictetus often taught that we should make our own philosophy, which means creating a set of guiding principles for how you want to live. This is crucial for making decisions about what to say yes or no to. When you're clear about your philosophy and about what's important to you, it becomes much easier to turn down opportunities that don't fit into that framework, even if they seem appealing on the surface. Let's take a real-life example. Imagine you're working towards a big personal goal, like starting a business or learning a new skill, and a friend invites you on a week-long trip. The trip sounds fun, and part of you wants to go, but you know that spending a week away will pull you off course from your goal. Now, without a clear sense of what's important to you, it would be easy to say yes to the trip. But if you've taken the time to reflect on your values, let's say one of your top values is discipline or personal growth, you'll realize that saying no to the trip is actually saying yes to staying on track with your goals. You're honoring what's most important to you. But here's the catch. Staying true to your values isn't always easy. It can mean saying no to things that are fun or that other people might expect you to do. It might even mean disappointing others. But as the Stoics remind us, we can't control what others think or feel about our decisions. What we can control is whether we are living in alignment with our own values and purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," meaning that the quality of our inner life, the decisions we make, the values we live by, shapes the person we become. Staying true to your values also requires courage. It's easy to say yes to everything and everyone. It's much harder to say no, especially when you feel pressure to please others or conform to societal expectations. But the Stoics teach us that we shouldn't let the opinions of others dictate our actions. As Epictetus said, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Saying no when something doesn't align with your values is an act of self-respect and self-discipline. It's a way of asserting control over your life and ensuring that you are living in accordance with what truly matters to you. So how can you put this into practice? Start by taking some quiet time each day or each week to reflect on what's important to you. This could be through journaling, meditation, or simply sitting in silence. Ask yourself, what do I value most? What kind of person do I want to be? What goals am I working toward? The more clarity you gain around these questions, the easier it becomes to make decisions that support your values and to confidently say no to the things that don't. Figuring out what's important to you and staying true to your values is about living with intention. It's about making conscious choices that reflect the person you want to be and the life you want to live. By doing this, you're not just saying no to distractions, you're saying yes to a life of purpose, meaning, and integrity. The Stoics believe that this is the path to true fulfillment, and I couldn't agree more. So take the time to figure out what matters to you and commit to living in alignment with those values every single day. In the end, life is too short to fill with things that don't matter. Every time you say no to what drains you, you're saying yes to what nourishes your soul and drives your purpose. Protect your time, guard your energy, and stay true to your path. If you found value in this video, be sure to check out one of the suggested videos on the screen now. They're packed with more insights to help you live a more focused, intentional life. Thank you for being a part of Visha Stoic, and until next time, keep living with purpose.